Hi there, this is the Next Gen Guide to English Grammar, and this lesson is a summary of future simple sentences. Our first sentence, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, so maybe this is a sentence which is said too many times when things need doing. However, let's just look at the grammar and let's write the structure for this sentence, which is, of course, starting with the subject, and then will, and then verb 1. So subject will, verb 1. So the verb here is to do something. And of course, we've got a contraction of I'll, which is the subject of I, and will. I'll do it tomorrow. So that's one way of talking about the future. Remember, we said we use will to talk about actions, usually without a plan. So the next sentence, we're going to open an Italian restaurant. So a different structure from the last sentence. However, we're still talking about the future, but this one uses going to. This is the future with going to. And usually we use going to when we have a firm plan, or we've planned something and that's what we want to do in the future. So going to, but before going to we need be, and before be we need the subject. So subject, be, going to, verb 1. So here the verb or the action is to open. And of course, going to is quite clear. And subject and be, we've used this contraction here. So we, and be becomes are. We are going to open an Italian restaurant. Continuing the Italian theme, I'll have a cappuccino. So this one is, of course, talking about the future without a plan. Maybe somebody would say something like this when choosing from a menu or at a cafe or maybe even a restaurant. So we start with the subject, will, verb 1. I'll have a cappuccino. Subject is I, and then we use will. Very simple or easy to understand structure, this one. I'll have a cappuccino. So let's look at some negative sentences. He isn't going to be at the office tomorrow. So this is a negative future going to. We have the subject, be, not. Going to. Verb 1. So the verb here is be. Going to is obvious. And be not is together in a contraction, isn't. And of course the subject is he. He isn't going to be at the office tomorrow. Next sentence, we won't be on time if we wait any longer. So this is using will. However, here, will is in a contraction with not. So don't forget that will not becomes won't. So here, subject, won't. Verb 1. B, won't is very clear. And the subject, of course, is we. We won't be on time if we wait any longer. And this test isn't going to be easy. So here, is this will or going to? Of course it's going to. We start with the subject. Be not going to. Verb 1. So we've got be again as the verb. Then we've got going to. Be not in the contraction isn't. And the subject is this test. Next sentence, where are you going to be? So this is a question. So we start, this is an open question. We start with a WH word. And then be, subject, going to, verb 1. So here again, verb 1 is be, going to comes before that. The subject is you. Be is are because the subject is you. You are you. And we have the WH word, where. So we want to know about a location. Where are you going to be? Short sentence, this one. Question with will. So we start with will. What's next? Well, it's the subject. And then verb 1. Obviously here we're using the pronoun it. And verb 1 is hurt. And of course will is here. Is the match going to finish before 10 o'clock? So we start with be, and then what? That's right, it's the subject. Going to. What's next? Yep, verb 1. So here verb 1 is finish. We've got going to. The match is the subject. And be is. Is the match going to finish before 10 o'clock? This is a question for you. See if you can answer before I give you the details. So the question is, we are all something to a Chinese restaurant. Remember, all three of these options are grammatically correct, but only one of them is the future simple with will or going to. So we're all going to a Chinese restaurant. We're all going to go to a Chinese restaurant, or we're all walking to a Chinese restaurant. So let's put the structure. It looks like there's no will here, so let's use the future with going to, which is subject, be going to verb 1. So we've got subject and we've got be. So the next word should be going to. So, well, it's not walking. We've got going here. We're all going to a Chinese restaurant. Now, this is actually present continuous. So we're not going to use that. So of course the answer is we're all going to go, going to, and then verb 1, which is go to a Chinese restaurant.